Okay, that was some real music. Really enjoyed that. Well done. Mr. Mayor, Headmaster, Chair of the Governors, parents and guests, and boys, I'm back. It's been quite a while, and it is indeed a great honor for me to find myself to be asked here today to talk at your prize giving. And to the prize winners themselves, I congratulate you all. It takes a lot of hard work and dedication to be recognized in this way, and you should all be very proud. And to the headmaster, thank you for bringing up that memory from my distant past when we were in Morocco. That was the first time I was chased by a man with a gun looking for money, but not the last. You see, I'm the CFO of a small cabinetry company, and I can tell you that as we sit here today, at this moment in time, I owe other people around $3.3 million, and we avoid paying them at all costs. So sometimes men with guns are knocking at my door, still looking for money. So thank you, merchant tailors, for helping me to deal with those kind of situations. So if I'm honest, this is not an easy speech for me to give, because I don't perceive myself as the kind of old Crosbean that comes back here telling of his career and his successful life. My stories may be a little bit different. Mine is more a story of survival, of dashed dreams, of a horrific accident, and overcoming obstacles and learning lessons along the way. I was a little bit intimidated when I heard that the girls' school were getting a NASA scientist. My life is more like the Apollo 13 disaster. So let's see if we can get any value from that. I really enjoyed coming into the school yesterday, and I spoke to the sixth form and was able to go into a little bit more depth with them about how I failed to identify what I really wanted to be and drifted into the wrong career. I was trying to be as brutally honest as I could to identify the misunderstandings that I had at that stage, in the hopes that maybe some of you chaps might be able to avoid them. My dreams growing up were always of flying, and I had the best opportunity to become an RAF pilot, and yet I didn't realize the value of the golden ticket that I had in my hands at that point, and I let it slip through my fingers because I didn't commit myself to that opportunity. Still, I drifted a little bit. I filled out my UCA form, or UCAS form now. I ended up with a degree in law and accountancy from Southampton University and became a chartered accountant with Pirelli tires. Now, Pirelli sent me to America to follow what was actually a really interesting career in a country that I fell in love with. However, life in an office, life in industry, it was lacking something. It was not completely satisfying. So I gained my pilot's license, and then I went on to race high-powered motorcycles. Now, motorcycle racing became an absolute passion, and it may seem frivolous and unnecessary because it is, but it was something that made me feel absolutely alive. Living on the edge was thrilling. It was life-affirming. For about 20 minutes each race, my life dangled on a thread. The risk was significant, but the feeling of being alive was very real. And I was good at it. I was fast. I found new levels of real bravery that I did not know that I had. I rose through the ranks from novice to expert to professional motorcycle racer. I found myself qualifying for races at the top national level, and seeing my name roll across the top of the TV screen alongside the greats of the sport was a real thrill. And of course, I did not have the backing of those professionals, but I was there. I was in the same race. And this was not a career. It was certainly not the career I've been raised to aspire to at Merchant Tailors. But it was the ultimate challenge to me, and it filled me with joy. So there I was, well on my way. I'd found a good career in a new land. I had money, health, friends, travel, a fun life. And I was following a passion that I took very seriously. Something that was real to me, and it was wonderful. I was never going to be the greatest motorcycle racer, but I was going to be the very best version of me that I ever could be. The crash was horrific. It happened so fast, but to me it happened in slow motion. I was on a 180 horsepower GSX-R 1000 superbike, traveling at around 150 miles an hour into a very fast left-right turn. And I'd taken this turn many times before in practice. I knew that to be absolutely fast enough, I had to leave braking until the millisecond after I thought I should brake. Because then I knew I'd be right on the edge. And if you're not right on the edge of control, then you're not going fast enough. If you ever feel comfortable on the track and in control, then you're not going fast enough. Each corner, you should be saving the bike from a crash. The tires should be sliding. The bike should be shuddering underneath you. It's only then that you know you're going fast enough. And that's the difference between riding a bike and racing a bike. But this time is different. The bolt holding the brake lever on sheared. The brake lever fell off. I was already leaving my braking too late. And when I went for the brake, my fingers just grasped thin air. And at that point, I tried to use the rear brake. I tried to change gear, but it was too late. I was helpless, so there was nothing more I could do but ride this crash out. The violence of a crash is unreal. All that energy surging through your body, destroying everything in its path. At some point, my spine could not take any more, and 2 of my vertebrae shattered. They left my precious, delicate spinal cord exposed, and it was damaged irreversibly. I rolled to a stop on my back, looking up at the clouds. The pain was immense, could not feel my legs. I tried to get up, but my body was dead below my chest. I could see my feet, but they were pointing in directions I couldn't really feel. And I looked up at those clouds in that moment, and I knew exactly what I'd done. And I knew I just asked for 8 seconds back, and you don't get your 8 seconds back. And that's how life works. Sometimes you make a significant mistake, and you cannot take it back. So, I left the world of the able-bodied people, and I entered the world of the disabled. I was a young man with money, toys, a career, a future, and in a moment I'd lost almost all of it. I was completely helpless, reliant on other people for everything. I went from being a have to a have almost nothing. So yeah, it looked pretty grim for a young Mark Brereton in 2007 in Alabama, USA. It's funny, I always wanted to do something special. I always felt I could do something special for other people, do something heroic, save somebody from a burning building. As I laid in bed in the hospital, looking up at my parents, my sister, my girlfriend, I realized that the life I was going to have to save was actually my own and not somebody else's. These poor people who loved me, had given me everything, worked so hard to give me such an amazing life, were now looking down on their paraplegic son. Their dreams lying wasted, battered and bruised, tubes sticking out of me, and there was nothing they could do. So it was clear to me, was my moment. I was not going to die. I was going to live. My life number 1 may have been over, but I was going to start life number 2, and I was going to make it the very best life that I could. I did not know how or what lay ahead, but I knew I was in a fight. And I knew that this was the moment I'd been building towards. And I began to fight to rebuild my life. So I was lucky. I was accepted at the Shepherd Center in Atlanta, Georgia. It's one of the leading rehabilitation spinal cord units in the world. And it's a bit like this school in a way, because acceptance there is selective. And it is tough love there. The regime they put you through was worse than basic training in the army. There's a strict schedule to follow, and if you can't hack it, they send you home. Because healthcare in America, as you know, is different. It's paid for by your insurance, and they're only going to pay top dollar at these places if they see some progress. So if they see no progress, they're going to send you home. They teach you how to do everything again, from clothe yourself, clean, feed yourself, everything. And it's so basic because you're starting again from nothing. And then a small miracle happened. In a test, my big toe started to move a tiny amount. And this was the test that they carried out upon my release back home. Now, this changed my classification. It meant that I could control some part of my lower body that was supposed to be paralyzed. It changed me from a complete injury to an incomplete injury. We lobbied the health insurance, and they approved a course of work on the Locomat. And the Locomat is $1 million robot that you get strapped into. And they walk you on a treadmill with this robot. And there's a little line, and the line shows whether you're doing anything, because it's the robot moving. If you can make that little line jump, then that means you're doing something. That means somewhere it can detect that you're moving. And I never worked so hard in my entire life to make this little line move. And as time went on, more functionality came back, and the more that came back, the harder I worked towards it. Rehab equipment is very expensive, so my father and I, we would go to Home Depot, which is like B&Q, and we'd just invent stuff. We'd be making all kinds of rehabilitation equipment. I invented an electric power assist for hand cycles that I wrote a patent for and started my own little company because it worked for me and other people were interested in having it. I called it a power pod, and I sold these little things across the world. You see, cycling using your hands alone is really hard because you can't stand on the pedals. And so it's slow and it's dangerous. By combining some electrical power, you can actually free yourself to cycle at more faster speeds, yet still get a good workout. And the most common response from customers was a profound thanks. This thing has changed my life. I tested it at the 2012 trials for the US Olympic team. They were very nice to me, and they said, yes, you can ride this bike as part of the US Olympic trials. Start at the back and try and keep out of the way. I won that race, and I made no friends. I overtook everybody. But the concept had been proven, and more people then decided that they wanted to have the same. Now, helicopters. I started to be able to stand and then even take some steps. And at first it was just a few steps, and then I could take more. And my personal best is to be able to walk 1 mile in 1 hour. Now, the mathematicians in the room will know the average speed, but I couldn't possibly calculate that. This, for me, was nothing short of a miracle, because when I'd lost so much, getting back that much, to be able to walk just 1 mile, was absolutely the biggest thing. And I was getting sensation and movement back. And to this day now, I'm so much more thankful for what I've got back than I ever was before. They say you only get what you're given, but whatever you're given, you have to maximize it, so I did. And do you know how many hoops I had to jump through with the FAA in order to get my pilot's license back? Many. And then strangely, seeing me struggle to walk upstairs, nobody would ever say, hey Mark, you should definitely learn to fly a helicopter. Nobody suggests that to a paraplegic. Sometimes you've got to cut your own path, and you've got to go where no one has been. I found an instructor and an examiner willing to help. The examiner had been shot down in Vietnam 6 times, and he recognized a can-do attitude and was very keen to help. So I have to thank them for teaching me how to handle the technically very challenging helicopter. And again, I had to make my own adaptive equipment. You can't buy the kind of equipment that I need to fly a helicopter. You have to make those kind of items yourself. And as some of you may have seen on the Today Show clip, this culminated in me being able to take young disabled kids to the air for a taste of freedom. And I fly anybody. I fly air cadets. I fly all manner of people, but I love taking people, kids especially, that are in a wheelchair, because being in a wheelchair, no matter how good you get at it, feels very limiting. So strapping that wheelchair to the skids of a helicopter and flying fast down rivers and valleys and over trees is completely liberating. And it shows to these newly injured kids that life is not over and that you just do not know what is possible or what is around the corner. And helicopters are amazing. They can do anything. To me, it's the closest thing to magic. I even flew mine to work one day. I work in Atlanta, and I flew it and landed it in the corporate car park. I didn't tell anybody I was going to do that, but I parked next to all the BMWs and Mercedes in the handicapped spot. And I took my little blue badge because I didn't want to get my helicopter towed. I only did that once. They asked me not to do that again. I don't know why. Okay, so what lessons have I learned that I think may be of use to you guys? First, really try and analyze what you want to do and who you want to be. And it's never too early to start taking note of your dreams and working out how to turn them into reality. Once you have an idea, find somebody that's already done it. If you have an idea of what you want to be, find somebody that's already that and ask them how they did it. And really grill them, find out if they're happy with their choice. Ask them what it takes, make the decision, and dedicate yourself to it. And remember, if you're passionate about something, you're going to be really good at it. And I wish now I'd taken the same approach that I took with racing motorcycles to that chance I had with the Royal Air Force. The difference between riding a bike and racing a bike, and the commitment that took, if I could have applied that to the excellent opportunity I had, maybe things would have been different, maybe they wouldn't have been. But at least I would have known I actually showed who I was and the very best that I could be. Plan for the best, make plans and see them through. But know that life can make a mockery of your plans in an instant. Take every opportunity to build your own resilience by challenging yourself to do difficult things. If something's difficult, just doing it increases your resilience. And that's what this school is for. And if things go wrong and you find yourself in a fight, then know that you have within you amazing reserves of strength that you cannot imagine. And if you are in a fight, fight to win, because you can overcome. Don't forget your family. The fact that you're all sitting here today means you've all got somebody in your corner. And even when you're ready to flee the nest, remember those who love you and cherish them, because you're all going to need people along the way to support you at various points in life. And family are the only people that do that kind of stuff for free. Find a way to give back. I try to repay my debt of gratitude to all the people who came to my side when I was helpless. Because all of us here owe so much to other people. And if you can't pay it back, pay it forward. Finally, life is good. Make sure you enjoy yours. Going to America was the adventure of a lifetime for me. I may not have achieved my absolute dream career, but I've worked in some pretty cool companies, some pretty cool places, and some pretty amazing people along the way. And I supplemented that adrenaline gap on my own, and I still do. My life was exciting before. Becoming a paraplegic, and you're going to have to take my word for it, was an adventure. Becoming a paraplegic was an adventure. Once you got over the severity of it, it was a challenge. It was a project. Something I dedicated my life, myself to. Being in a fight was exciting. And finding problems to solutions that other people hadn't even tackled yet was very satisfying. So now my life, fortunately, is more full and varied than I have any right to expect. So as much as anything, I'm here today to say thank you to this school. I'm very proud of the time that I spent here and the lessons it taught me and the pathway that it sent me out on. Okay, I know that was a little bit heavy, and there's much more that probably I wish I could have said, but we're here today to celebrate your success, and I really enjoyed handing out those prizes. I was always up there at the back. So I congratulate you all, and I wish you all the best in the future. Enjoy your success, and let's celebrate it.